my channel Creatively Expressive. My name is Amy and today I'm sharing 9 Halloween DIYs using mostly Dollar Tree products. If you're interested in seeing how I made these projects, then please stick around. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you found me. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And I just want to say that I really do appreciate your continued support. Now let's get started. For project number 1, I am using 5 of these rectangular Halloween signs that I got from Dollar Tree. The first thing I'm going to do is use a combination of wood glue and hot glue to glue all 5 of the signs together side by side. And then I add some clamps to the bottom for a few minutes to let the glue set up. While the glue is setting up, I am taking 4 of these wood knobs that I got from Hobby Lobby and I am painting them black. The knobs have a little hole on the bottom, so I'm sticking the end of a paintbrush handle into the hole to make it easier to hold onto while painting. Then I decided to try sanding the images off the tops of the signs. I don't recommend doing this because it ended up making the tops of my signs break off. I'm going to fix that in just a minute, but first I'm going to paint the tops of those signs with black chalk paint. And then I dry brush on some white chalk paint to make them look aged, and I will also dry brush white paint over the black knobs. Now I'm reattaching the tops of the sign with some Starbond super glue and some accelerator spray. The accelerator spray just makes that glue set up a little bit faster. Now that the tops are reattached, I'm going to use a fine detail paintbrush to paint on some spider webs. I am not using a lot of paint and I am using a light hand because I want the webs to be fine and look wispy like real spider webs. Now I'm taking some tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree and I'm gluing 6 together for each of the inside corners of those signs and then gluing them into those corners. The reason I am doing this is so that I have something I can glue those knobs to. Once I've glued those knobs on, this project is complete and I have a spooky little Halloween riser. For project number 2, I'm using 2 of these little tinsel covered witch shoes that I got from the Dollar Tree. The first thing you want to do is remove all that shiny tinsel garland from each of the shoes. Now you'll be left with a plastic frame. Then I will be using this black chenille yarn that I also got from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to recover the shoes with the black chenille, and I am using a low temperature hot glue gun to help me attach the yarn. I just add a small amount of hot glue to the tip of the shoe to attach the yarn, and then I start wrapping the yarn around the shoe. And I'm going to add more hot glue every now and then wherever I think it needs it. Once I get to the inner part of the sole where it meets the heel, I cut the yarn and glue on the end. Then I start a new piece at the base of the heel. Then when I get to the top of the heel, I cut the yarn again and wrap it through the inner part of the frame. The reason I do this is so that I can get the yarn right up in that area between the sole of the shoe and the heel. Then when I get to the end of the cut piece of yarn, I glue it to the frame and start with a new piece again. I'm going to continue wrapping the yarn around the shoe frame until I get to the top of the shoe. When I get to the top of the frame, I'm going to add glue right along the top and glue the yarn over the frame so that the frame is not visible. Then I will glue on one more row just inside of the frame and cut my yarn and glue that end on the frame. Then I just repeat those same steps with the second shoe. Now I am taking a black zip tie and I'm going to zip tie the two shoes together. Then I'm going to use this glittery black spiderweb ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm making a basic bow that will fit on the back of one of the shoes. Then I make a second smaller bow from this ribbon that I got from Walmart to go in the center of that black bow. I attach the smaller bow to the bigger bow with this pipe cleaner. Then I will cover the pipe cleaner with another piece of that purple ribbon by wrapping it around the center and gluing the ends to the back of the bow. Then I make a second bow for the other shoe, and I'm going to dovetail the ends of the black bow, and I'm going to cut the ends of the purple bow at an angle. Then I hot glue the bows to the backs of the shoes. Then I went into my Silhouette Design Studio and I cut out the words "If the shoe fits" in orange and white vinyl and a little witch silhouette in purple vinyl to fit on one of these little chalkboard tags that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to attach the vinyl to the tag with transfer tape. Now I'm going to thread this purple ribbon that I got from Walmart through the hole on the tag and wrap it around where the zip tie is holding the shoes together and tie the ends into a knot. Then I move the knot behind the tag where it won't be visible. And now I'm making a little finger bow with some more of that purple ribbon, and I'm going to hot glue it to the tag where that hole is. And now this project is complete. For project number 3, I wanted to make a yardstick wreath, but I didn't have a yardstick, and I didn't want to buy one because I thought I could just use these scrap pieces left over from 2 Dollar Tree yardsticks. So I'm just going to attach the 2 yardsticks together using a paint stir stick. I put the 2 flat ends of the yardsticks up next to each other, and then I use hot glue and wood glue to glue that piece of the paint stir stick to both, making one long yardstick. Then I flip it over and I glue the other piece of that paint stir stick to the front so that it's nice and sturdy. Now I have this skull sign that I got from Dollar Tree, and I filled in that top hole with some caulking. And I'm going to hot glue on 4 pipe cleaners to the back of that sign down the center, and I also glue a piece of felt over the center of the pipe cleaner to make them more secure. Then I will drill a hole at one end of the stake so that I will be able to hang my wreath. Now to make the wreath, I will be attaching pipe cleaners to my yardstick. And I will attach 2 pipe cleaners to the top, making sure the tails of one pipe cleaner go to the right side and the tails of the other go to the left. To attach the pipe cleaners, I bend them in half, fold it around the stake, and then twist the 2 tails together, attaching it to the stake. And I am putting the first 2 right up against each other. Then I will move down my stake about 4 to 5 inches, and I will attach just 1 pipe cleaner, making the tails point out to the front. Then I move down another 4 to 5 inches and I attach another 2 pipe cleaners, making the tails go to the left and the right. Then I move down another 4 to 5 inches and attach just 1 pipe cleaner, pointing the tails to the front. And I will repeat this process until I reach the bottom of my stake. Now you can use deco mesh in the color of your choosing from Dollar Tree, and I am cutting it into 12-inch pieces. With each 12-inch piece, I start gathering in the center at one end until I get to the other end. Then I use a small clip to hold it together while I make another one, and then I will add that one to the clip with the first one. When I have 4 pieces of the pleated mesh bundled together, I am going to attach them to one of the pipe cleaners on the stake. So the top row will have a bundle of 4 on the right and the left side, then the next row will just have 1 bundle of 4 in the center, then the third row will have 2 sets of 4, one on the right and one on the left, and so on and so on. Now I'm using 4 different Halloween ribbons that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm cutting them into 8-inch pieces. Then I'm going to dovetail the ends of each 8-inch piece. I'm stacking 4 8-inch pieces together and pinching them together in the center. Then I will attach the bundle of ribbon to one of the pipe cleaners on the stake. Now I'm taking the ends of that pipe cleaner and wrapping it around to the back and twisting it a couple more times and then cutting off the ends. Now, since I had used some of that black spiderweb ribbon in the previous craft, I didn't have as much as I did of the other 3 ribbons. So I am not going to add ribbons to the rows with just one pipe cleaner in the center. And I will only add 3 ribbons to every other row of 2. But if you buy more ribbon, then of course you could use more ribbon than I did. Now I'm going to attach that skull sign to the center of my wreath with the pipe cleaners that I glued on it earlier. I figure out where I want my sign, and then I wrap the pipe cleaners to the back of the wreath and twist them together to secure it to the sign. Now I have these 2 signs that came from some hanging Dollar Tree signs, and I glued the pipe cleaners to the back of these so that I could attach these to my wreath as well. And I'm going to attach one to the top and one to the bottom the same way I did the skull sign. And here I decided I made the pipe cleaners too tight, so I'm just loosening them up a bit so that it sticks out as much as the skull sign. And now I want to cover up the area on the skull sign where I plugged the hole with the caulking, so I'm just going to glue a little spider that I got from Walmart over top of it. And then, so it doesn't look weird and out of place, I'm going to glue on a few more spiders here and there. Now for one final touch, I will be gluing some Halloween ornaments to my wreath. I add hot glue to the end of the ornament that used to have the hanger on it, and then I just push it into the mesh. Now I just need to add a piece of ribbon to the hole that I drilled into the top of the stake for hanging, and this project is complete. For project number 4, I will be using a bottle of green hand soap and this plastic bag of spiders that I got from Walmart for about $1. I'm going to start by peeling the labels off the soap bottle. Then I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol and cotton balls to remove the sticky residue from the bottle. Now I'm going to add some of those plastic spiders into the soap. And I got this self-laminating pouch from Walmart, and I'm going to use just the front sticky part of it. I have this little Halloween label that I purchased from Etsy, and I printed it out. I am sticking that label to the laminating sheet, and I am cutting off some of the excess area of the sticky sheet. Now I am attempting to attach the label to the soap bottle. But because of the shape of the bottle, I'm having trouble getting the sticker to lie flat on the bottle. I didn't like the way it looked, so I decided to remove it and try something else. So at this point, I decided to go to the Silhouette design store and I purchased a Halloween cut file. Then I sized the file to fit on the soap bottle and cut it out in orange vinyl. And I used transfer tape and parchment paper to center and attach the vinyl to the soap bottle, and this project is complete. For project number 5, I will be using this cutout pumpkin sign from the Dollar Tree. I am going to be cutting off the area with the pumpkin cutout and cutting the sign down to 18 inches long. And since the sign is so thin, I'm just going to be using a utility knife to do that. I just ran the utility knife over my marked lines several times. Then I flip the sign over, mark another line at 18 inches, and score that side with the utility knife until it cuts through the sign. Then I went to Etsy and I found this cut file for this Apothecary sign that I liked. The original file was too long to fit on my sign, so I had to alter it a bit in my Silhouette design studio in order to make it work for my sign. Before transferring the cut decal to my sign, I decided I wanted to add some antique finishing wax to it. First, I'm trying to add the wax with a baby wipe in a way to the sign that makes it look old and distressed. But I wasn't too crazy about how it looked, so then I tried watering down the wax and brushing it over the entire sign. I like this finish better, but then I decided that the black vinyl didn't pop enough off of the brown and it didn't look aged and spooky enough for me. So then I decided to paint over it with white chalk paint. And when I started painting on the white, some of the brown wax started bleeding through the white paint. But I actually didn't mind because it was giving the white paint a dirty and aged look like I was going for. When painting on the white, I was purposely trying to be messy with it and leave some of the brown showing through in areas, and also going a bit heavier with the white in some areas and lighter in others. Because like I said, I'm going for an aged look and I want it to look dirty and old and like some of the paint has worn away from age. Now that I am happy with the look of the sign, I'm going to transfer my vinyl decal to the sign with parchment paper and transfer tape. Then I just peel away the transfer tape and this project is complete. For project number 6, I am using 2 of these unfinished wood Halloween signs that I got from Dollar Tree. And I will just be using the jack-o'-lanterns for this project. The first thing I want to do is fill the holes on them. To do this, I put a piece of painter's tape over the holes on one side and then fill in the hole with some caulking and let it dry. I'm going to be painting 2 of the jack-o'-lanterns with the color pumpkin orange and 2 with black chalk paint. After painting on the first coat of orange paint, I remember that the orange acrylic paint has terrible coverage. So I let the first coat dry and then I painted over it with white chalk paint, and I also painted the other jack-o'-lantern white as well. When the white paint is dry, I paint both of the white pumpkins with the color pumpkin orange. Now I'm going to be using 2 of these long rectangular signs from Dollar Tree, and I am removing the hangers and the paper picture covers. And now I'm going to be attaching the 2 signs together by gluing cut paint stir sticks to the back of the signs with wood glue and hot glue. Now I have one larger sign and I'm going to paint it with white chalk paint. I want the sign to have a frame, so I'm cutting down some of these square wooden dowels that I got from Lowe's. I cut the 2 longer pieces down to 23.5 inches and the 2 shorter pieces down to 11 inches. But I think I should have cut the shorter pieces a little bit shorter, and you'll see why here in a minute. Now I'm painting my frame pieces with black chalk paint. Then I am using a combination of wood glue and hot glue to attach my frame pieces to my sign. But I was having trouble getting my frame pieces to fit just right on my sign, and this is why I should have cut the shorter pieces a little bit shorter than 11 inches, but I made it work. My white paint got messed up a bit from me removing the frame pieces, so now I'm just touching up the paint with a small paintbrush and some white paint. Now I'm using some Starbond super glue to glue the jack-o'-lanterns to the bottom area of the sign, alternating the black and orange colors. Then I designed this Happy Halloween decal in Silhouette Design Studio and cut it out on black vinyl. And I am using parchment paper and transfer tape to center and apply the decal to the sign. And once I remove the transfer tape, this project is complete. For project number 7, I will be using 4 of these foam pumpkins that I got from Dollar Tree. I will also be using this sparkle mesh and 3 of these Halloween scarves that I also got from the Dollar Tree. The pumpkins have some white spots on them and my fabric is transparent. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint the pumpkins with black chalk paint to touch up all the white areas on the pumpkins. I removed the stem from the pumpkin and now I'm using a little pumpkin saw that comes in those little pumpkin carving kits to cut a hole in the top of the pumpkin. For my first pumpkin, I will be using the glitter mesh, and right here I'm just trying to figure out the best way to cover the pumpkin with it. After cutting 3 pieces and wrapping them all the way around the pumpkin, I realized it would work better if I cut shorter pieces and just wrap them halfway around the pumpkins. So I poke a smaller hole in the bottom of the pumpkin and then I add some hot glue to the edge of the hole and then use a popsicle stick to push the mesh into the hole. The reason I am using the popsicle stick is so that I do not burn my fingers. Then I'm going to continue wrapping the pieces of mesh halfway around the pumpkin and gluing it into the top and the bottom holes until the entire pumpkin is covered with mesh. Now for the other 3 pumpkins, I will be doing the same thing, except I will be covering them with these 3 Halloween Dollar Tree scarves. And 1 scarf is plenty enough for covering 1 pumpkin with a little bit of the scarf left over. Now for the stems, I had my husband cut down some branches from a tree outside. For the 3 pumpkins covered with the scarves, I will be leaving them their natural color, and I just hot glue them into the top hole on the pumpkins. For the pumpkin covered in the glittery mesh, I thought the stem needed to be painted black to match better. So I painted the stem with black chalk paint and let it dry before hot gluing it into the glittery pumpkin. And once I have done that, this project is complete. For project number 8, I am going to be using 2 of these foam cones and some mesh tubing in the colors orange, gold, and white from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start with the gold tubing and start hot gluing it around the bottom edge of the cone. And after the second row, I decided to start cutting the tubing when I got back around to the back of each row. Basically, what I am doing is putting a line of hot glue around the cone and gluing down the tubing, and after each row, I cut the tubing. Once I had 7 rows of the gold on the cone, I switched to the color orange and repeated the same steps. And for the orange color, I did 12 rows before switching to the white and repeating the same steps. When I get to the top of the cone, I just continue to glue the tubing down until I only have a tiny amount of the cone still showing. Then I cut the tubing and I used a pair of tweezers to help me push the end of the tubing down into the glue. I made a second candy corn cone, but with this one I decided not to cut the tubing after each row and just leave it in one continuous piece until I was finished with the color. And I actually like the way the second one turned out better than the first. And now this project is complete. Now for the ninth and final project, I'm using this hanging Halloween sign that I got from Dollar Tree and this sign that I found at Hobby Lobby on clearance for $3.74. The first thing I'm going to do is take apart the Halloween sign because I only wanted the haunted house for this project. Then I taped off the inside of the Hobby Lobby sign and I'm going to paint the frame with black chalk paint. I removed the painter's tape and now I'm going to paint the picture area of the sign with this color Purple Iris. I carefully painted around the edge of the picture area first with a small paintbrush so that I don't get any of that purple on the frame. Then I'm going to go back in with a larger brush and paint in the rest of that picture area. And this took me several coats to get the coverage I wanted. Now I cut out a large circle on Stencil Vinyl with my Silhouette Cameo 4 and I'm sticking that stencil to the sign. The first thing I'm going to do is paint over the edges of this circle with the color Purple Iris. What this is going to do is seal on the edges of my stencil so that I don't get any bleed through once I add my other color. When the purple is dry, I'm going to paint over the circle area with white chalk paint. Then when the white is dry, I'm going to go over it with the color yellow. The reason I painted it white first is that yellow has terrible coverage and I would be painting on coats of yellow for days if I didn't paint it white first. Once I have painted it yellow, I'm going to peel off the stencil, and now I have a giant full moon. And now I wanted to create a glow effect around the moon. So I'm taking a small sponge brush and dipping it into the yellow paint and then into some water. Then I tap off some of the excess water and then sponge around the edge of the moon just outside of the moon. Adding the water makes the yellow more transparent and gives me the glow effect I wanted. Then I found this funny little saying and I cut it out with my Silhouette Cameo 4 on black vinyl. And I am using parchment paper and transfer tape to place and stick the vinyl to my sign. Using the parchment paper allows me to move the decal around before I actually stick it to the sign so that I can make sure I have the placement just right. Once I am happy with the placement, I just pull the parchment out from under the transfer tape. Now I'm using gel super glue from the Dollar Tree and hot glue to attach the haunted house to the sign. At this point, I thought it was still missing something, so I'm going to be using some of these little bats from these wood sticker packs that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to paint 4 of them black and then use some Starbond super glue to glue them to the sign, and this project is complete. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope it's inspired you. If you did enjoy the DIYs that I've shared with you today, then please show me some love by subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. It's a completely free way to support me. Other ways you can support me are by leaving a comment, giving me a thumbs up, or even sharing this video with anyone that you think might enjoy it. I truly appreciate your guys' love and support, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!